The best camera is the one you forget you are holding. After 10,000 photos, mine is dialed in to do exactly that. I never open up a menu or drop the camera down while I'm shooting, but the photos look exactly like I want. And these are the 9 settings to get me there. I'm starting with a big one. If you change nothing on this camera, change this. It's the Aperture Priority mode with a minimum shutter speed. You pick the creative look you want via the aperture, and the camera handles the ISO and the shutter speeds, but you give it 2 rules. Rule number 1, the shutter speeds can't go below the number you set, so your shot stays sharp. Rule number 2, the ISO can't climb the value you set, so your images stays clean to the noise level that you want. The option is buried in the menu system, and finding it for the first time takes a minute. Let me show exactly where it is. First up, turn the shutter speed dial to A, turn the ISO dial to A, then go into the menu, shooting settings, ISO auto setting, and set your minimum shutter speeds and maximum ISO as you want in here. My everyday one is set to 1/125, sharp in almost any situation. My second one is for darker places, and I drop the shutter speed to 1/60. I let a bit more light in, but still clean thanks to the IBIS on this camera. And my third one is for fast moving objects, set to 1/250, fast enough to freeze them and get the sharpest frame as I can. And that's the whole point. You're not thinking about the exposure anymore, you're just focused on depth of fields, just shooting the photo. And the next one is directly connected to the last one, because when you're in the aperture priority mode, your most important setting is the aperture, but the aperture ring on this lens is not as practical as it looks beautiful. I always end up bringing the camera down just to see where it is set. So my fix is to set the ring to A, then go into the setup page, select button dial setting, go to command dial settings, and set the front field to aperture. Now I change it with my finger and read the value right off the screen. I still in the viewfinder the whole time. It makes it so much easier to control the aperture this way. So now you've got the aperture priority set up, aperture on the wheel, but one last thing kept breaking the flow. It's the face detection. When it's on, the camera will grab onto any person's walking through the frame and just locks there. Beautiful composition, wrong focus. So I put the face detection to the shortcut button right next to the shutter. It's the easiest way to access it, and here is how you set it up. Go into the setup page, button dial setting, select function setting, then choose button number 1, assign face detection to it. Alternatively, you can just hold the display button and it will open the shortcut assignment page. You can just assign face detection or any other shortcut in here. Now it's just basically one press to toggle. One press, you're on portraits, and one more, you're in landscape, street photography, you name it. So the next one is a bit more technical, but it's definitely worth keeping in your back pockets. By default, the dynamic range is set to 100, and it gives you the cleanest image for sure. But here is the catch. Shooting someone against a strong light, a bright window, or a sky, and that background blows out fast. I had this all the time. Somebody sitting in front of a bright window, and the whole background behind them goes white. And once it's gone, it's gone. You're not getting that information back later. So I bumped the dynamic range to 200. It holds on to a lot more of that highlight detail, works almost everywhere, and the trade-off is small enough that you won't notice. That's my go-to now for this kind of cases, now that the window actually keeps its detail. And then there is also dynamic range for hundreds, which protects the background even harder. But the issue is, the image will start to look like it's a little flat. I rarely use it, but still, when you're in a really tricky backlit spot and you would rather save the background than blow it out completely, it's there and it's an option. And the next one is for anyone who shoots a little bit of video. Normally, switching from photo to video means resetting all of your video settings and then redoing it when you're switching back every time. But it's a pain and open to mistakes. The fix is a setting that buried in the menu system called Movie Optimize Controls. Basically, you go into the video settings and go to the very end. There you will see Movie Optimize Controls. Turn it on and then the video gets its own separate set of controls. Now, the second you flip the movie mode, those settings will just apply automatically. Meanwhile, whatever you do in your physical dials still run the show in photo mode and it doesn't affect video at all. Photo stays photo, and video stays video. Another button I reassigned, and this one is for the ND filter. The X100VI has a built-in ND filter. Think it as like sunglasses for your camera. When you're out in harsh midday sun or you're just shooting video outside, this is the one you reach for. But out of the box, you turn it on either in the menu system or by spinning the front wheel to the left, and it's kind of delayed to kick in. Not ideal if you want it right now. So I gave it its own button. A press of the front wheel, dead center, and it's easy to reach. Much faster than going the original way where you spin the wheel basically. And the next one is small, but I will turn it in day one. It's called the boost mode, and it makes the whole camera much more quicker, snappier autofocus, better tracking, and overall more responsive camera. Go to the power management and performance, and then open and choose the boost. The trade-off is it uses a bit more battery, but for me, that's an easy trade. I would rather carry a spare battery than have the camera feel a step behind. So this setting is again about performance, but for transferring photos. Out of the box, the camera transfers over 2.4 GHz connection. It's slower and it picks up interference from everything around it. The fix is simple. Switching it to 5 GHz and your transfers get faster and a lot more stable, which matters if you're like me and you like to send a few shots across while you're still out. To activate it, go over to Network and USB settings, Smartphone settings, Wireless connection, Frequency settings, and there you will see the 2.4 GHz, change that to 5, and that's it. It's not a flashy change, but the first time you transfer photos, after switching the setting, you will feel the difference straight away. And I will finish with a fun one. For some people, film simulations are the main reason to shoot Fujifilm, but picking the one in the moment can take some time since there is a lot of them. And you can apply any film simulation you want to a photo after you have taken it. Right into the camera. Find plus RAW or just RAW will both work. Then go into the playback, select the photo you want, hit the menu, and you will find a RAW conversion. From there, you can apply any film simulation you want, cycle through them, and find the look. Sometimes I will shoot all day, not worrying about it, and then sit down somewhere with a coffee and go through the photos and picking a look for each one. It's like choosing an Instagram filter, except it's all inside of a camera. No pressure out shooting, and no worries about choosing the correct film simulation for each situation. And it's genuinely fun to try different film simulations after you have taken all the photos at the end of the day. So those are the settings I actually use. The ones I would set up before taking any shots. Do you have some favorite settings? Write them in the comments down below. And if you want to see what 10,000 photos actually taught me beyond the settings for X100VI, that video is right here. And I will catch you in the next one.